Good evening, everyone. This is Mitch with SC Weather. Hope y'all been having a good start to your week. Sorry I've not been quite as active with my videos lately. There's just not been a ton to talk about weather-wise. It's been a semi-active start to the month. You know, we've obviously had the hurricane hit Louisiana, a few severe weather events, nothing crazy or insane or anything, but a semi-active month. But in this video, you know, I want to talk about what we can expect the second half in October. Obviously, we're in about the mid-October range, and so I think we can get a decent gauge on what to expect for the remainder of the month, and that's what I'm going to talk about. Is there a potential another tropical threat? Is there any deep cold air that's going to come? We're going to get deep into that here. But before we get going, as I've said, it is a very slow period right now for me. Growth is slow through YouTube. So, you know, it's just, there's not a whole lot going on. And so if you haven't subscribed and you watch my videos or you're a first time watcher, I would appreciate if you would subscribe. It means a whole lot to me. I got a goal to hit 1,000 subscribers for the end of the year. But enough of that. So let's get deep into this. So right here we have dew points. And as I mentioned in other videos, you know, I feel like dew points or a good indicator of the air mass or the pattern we have in place. You know, you get the higher dew points, normally it's warm and humid. Lower dew points, you got a dry, cooler air mass. So right now, walk outside, we have a drier air mass. So these are the dew points right here for us right now. And dew points in the 50s and 40s in parts of the states, but down here in the low part of the state and the southeast and things like that, you got dew points in the 60s. So I think going into tomorrow we start to lose that air mass, and tomorrow we begin to get more humid. I think temperatures, as far as temperatures, it's not going to change much, but you're going to notice it's a lot more humid out there. Not crazy humid like at the beginning of the week, but it will be much more humid. But there's another big cold front coming through for this weekend that's going to give us an absolutely amazing weekend of weather here, and it's going to move through late Friday, overnight Saturday, and we're going to get another awesome air mass. These are dew points, guys, dew points, not temperatures. We're not going to get temperatures in the 20s for, you know, already for parts of the southeast. These are dew points. Dew points in the 40s means it's really dry and crisp outside. So, you know, you look up here, this is the time frame, this is Saturday. This is Saturday, about the warmest part of the day. You just got an awesome air mass in place. So people going to the game this weekend across the southeast, the Gamecocks game, Clemson game, beautiful, beautiful weather. There might not be a cloud in the sky Saturday. Just awesome, awesome weather. No rain, obviously. But we start to get later. Still an awesome day Sunday, not quite as cool as Saturday. But a big question here, and the Euro and the GFS has this, is how long does this nice, crisp, dry fall air linger around? And you know, that is the question. And we're scrolling through this. It's Wednesday of next week, and you get the more humid air that gets in place. And look at it. Look, that almost looks like the southeast ridge there dominating our pattern. And the trough, the cold front, just kind of stalls out here and doesn't let loose east. And you get all the way until this time next week, and finally another trough begins to dig for next weekend. But this is obviously a little bit in that la-la land period where it's not as accurate. But check out here you're getting towards the 252 hour range, which is not very accurate at all. But this little area right here, that's a tropical system, and it's been showing up a lot on the GFS. And it kind of comes here, sneaks up this way. They like to do this in October. This is late October too, so they kind of like to sneak up here. But obviously you have a trough digging, so it's going to kick it back out. But not before it's really close to the east coast here. But then, you know, obviously you get into late October, and I really think we're going to get a consistent flow of cooler, drier air that really dominates the pattern, maybe towards the end of the month, more into October. And this is a big time cold front here. This gets all the way to the tip of Florida with dew points in the 30s and 40s for the entire peninsula of Florida. So this could deliver definitely some widespread frost and freeze for parts of the southeast. But more closer look for temperatures here. And these are temperatures, so you can hold this a little bit. So tonight, not as cool as last night probably, but still temperatures in the 50s. A little bit warmer tomorrow, temperatures in the 70s and 80s. Friday, but where the front doesn't push through, temperatures will soar and it'll be humid into the 70s and 80s, especially in the lower part of the state. Florida's down here baking, but check it out. These are high temperatures Friday. Check out where the fronts move through. Temperatures highs in the 60s and even 50s for parts of the southeast where that just strong front has moved through. But it moves through. Temperatures dip into the 40s for lows for parts of the state as we wake up Saturday morning and get going. But check it out. Just a beautiful day in the southeast. Besides Florida baking in the 80s and close to 90, this is high temperature Saturday for the entire southeast, 60s almost for the entire state of South Carolina. Some areas of North Carolina might not get out the 50s, and it'll just be a chilly weekend. It's going to be a beautiful weekend if you want to go up to the mountains and check out the fall foliage. I tell you that it'll be a little nippy, a little nip to the air, and it'll just feel like fall. So I definitely recommend this weekend as a great weekend to go check out them fall colors. Temperatures fall back quick. It'll be a very, I'd venture to say it'll be the coolest night of the season, Sunday morning, Saturday night into Sunday morning. Temperatures will maybe dip into 30s for parts of the upstate. I'm not saying it will, but I do think there's a solid chance that it could happen somewhere way out in the country where it cools down more than others. Could certainly get much cooler. But you start to get later into next week and you start to lose it. You start to get highs back in the 80s. You know, this is getting into Wednesday. And check it out. This is Wednesday of next week. Widespread 80s and 70s. And you just really, really start to lose that fall air mass again. And not only is it in the 80s here, but it's a little humid. It's definitely not a crisp 80-degree day kind of like today was. But eventually, check out this. You start to get a big-time cold front that really starts to move through. And this is a major cold front. This is definitely cutting deep and dropping the temperatures big time. And, you notice the freezing temperatures here. But this is deep into the GFS run. This is 10 days out, so it's not as accurate. But this is highs for next Saturday, 10 days out. But this symbolizes what I'm talking about. I think there's going to be a major cold front maybe in the next week or two that really puts us into more of a permanent. And I know I've been saying that a lot, guys, but I really think this one's going to put us into a more of a permanent fall pattern. Kind of like when we got that big cold front in Halloween last year. It was really warm Halloween. That cold front pushed through, and it was like fall the rest of the way through up until winter, or eventually went into winter-type temperatures. But definitely watching a big-time cold front way out. So this is the NAM. Let's back it up here. As far as rain chances, worrying about getting a little bit of rain, really the only rain chance I see, and we're getting into Thursday, is Thursday tomorrow. We might have some showers around, but we get into Friday as this frontal passage kind of comes through. You'll get some downpours, and I think maybe in the overnight Thursday into Friday that may pop up, and then it's smooth sailing after that. That air mass will work its way through. And it's just a beautiful weekend. But if you guys have made it to this end of the video, I know I've talked a little bit too much on that. We're going to talk about the tropics because I do think it's going to try to give us one last hurrah in the next week or two. And here it is. We're going to kind of sim through the week. And if you're trying to keep up with me, this is the date, Friday, October 16th. So that's here in 2 days. So we'll get going through the run and just follow up here. But check out down in this range as the system starts to emerge. And I'm using only the GFS, guys, in this entire video, just for now. There's no point in really flipping through because this is so far out. But if you check it out here, you got a system coming up. And this system comes awfully close, and this is very far out, 258 hours out. That's like 10 to 11 to 12 days out. But something has showed up around this range a lot. At the same time, you have a big trough digging, so it doesn't allow it to kind of ram. And you can see, you can check out the bars right here about this trough that's digging. You got some energy interacting with the front, rain, storms, whatever it may be. But this is, if this actually came true, this would be a Category 3 hurricane off the coast of the Carolinas. So a major deal. What's crazy is you watch this, And you got this strong cold front digging here, bringing almost snow. And I'm talking about it like it could happen, but guys, this is so far out. It's just a scenario that could happen. It was kind of showing something going on too that ended up being delta at this range too, so it's worth mentioning for sure. And then check it out. You got a hurricane right here, and then you got snow right here. It's just incredible. It's because you got such a strong cold front that's digging right here that's going to push whatever was to form off and keep it, just from not really affecting land. But that moves through. I'm going to show you this too, because this gives you a good idea of that, of basically the front that drops down right here. And let's see if I can get this going again. Here we go. So here's that big plume of moisture, which would be that tropical activity that the GFS is talking about. And this is just off a different website. This is weathermodels.com. But that's the huge trough right here digging the cold front. And you can tell by the much drier air. If you look up here, those browns, those grays, those whites, that is dry air. The more brighter colors you got here with these yellows, reds, purples, and things like that, that symbolizes really moist air, which is obviously something that you get with a tropical system. But you kind of get here and check it out. It does a good idea of showing you of how the system gets pushed off by that trough. If you check it out here in motion, it's coming, but then it just gets pushed away and just disintegrated by dry air. And this front, this front makes it all the way to freaking Cuba if it was to actually come true. Which, like I said, about 10 times in the video already, that this is really far out. But it's just something in the long range. That's why we had the GFS. We can look way out and kind of see kind of what we're working with, even though it's not going to be super accurate. But that is something we need to watch, and that might be hurricane season's last hurrah. But something's been showing up here a lot, and we really need to watch it here. One thing we need to watch out is the pattern that's in place before the storm gets, because if this trough comes quicker, and this kind of gets trapped over here, it might be another Gulf threat. And what I'm meaning is you got kind of this trough starting to kind of set up here some ridging. The storm kind of comes, and here it comes digging right here. Maybe this is slower, gets trapped under here, maybe not. But this looks like a likely scenario, considering climatology tells us that any tropical systems that do form love to form right here in this area in the Northwest Caribbean, or just in the Caribbean in general, and track north like this. They love doing this. So what pattern do we have in place? It's likely going to be something like this, but same time, we don't know. So it's just something that we need to watch. Let's see if I can flip over here too, because this would be certainly interesting to look at. Let's see if it's going to move quick enough for me. I don't have the fastest internet speed, guys, but this is certainly something that we can check out here. We'll just kind of stick it to the Caribbean here. But the SpaghettiOs, good old SpaghettiOs here, that people love checking out, because it kind of gives us a good idea of where these are going to set up here. And we'll look at the ones from the European model, the EPS from 12Z from the noon runs. But if I can make this kind of upload a little faster, and I should have had this ready. But and here it is. You see this area right here. We start to get into that time frame, and it just shows something going on 10 days out. That's pretty far out. But I was talking about this same kind of thing in the video I made in the beginning of October, of some energy coming up here, and there ended up being what ended up being delta. Something came out of it. So it's just something we need to watch. I think this would be something that would affect the East Coast, if anything. But, this is Sunday, October 25th, pretty far out. But it's showing something going on in this area. It's wanting to bring something, and eventually, does whatever it does. We don't know. It's so far out, it's not even worth trying to pin down that. But that's that. in a nutshell, I think we're going to have one more tropical threat possibly. Will it affect land? Who knows? But I do think we're going to warm up next week. But I think there's going to be a big time cold front in about 8 to 10 days. That's going to be the coldest era of the season. I thought this weekend coming was going to be, and it's going to be the coolest era of the season, technically. But it's definitely not quite as cool as I thought it was going to be. But still a beautiful weekend on tap. But that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for watching, and y'all have a blessed evening.